This was a podcast by PRpHD and Muditaheart. For more by PRpHD, check out his streams at twitch.tv/PRpHD. Also, use his affiliate links to buy your own retro games and digital game bundles. And I'm Muditaheart, a game designer and developer focused on making kinder and cozier communities. For more games made by me, check out my itch.io at muditaheart.itch.io, or check out game streams that I've made at twitch.tv/muditaheart. And for more videos and games and more, check out my linktree at linktr.ee/muditaheart. That's linktr.ee/muditaheart. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you'll join us again soon. Alright. I don't know who was supposed to speak first, but hello, this is Muditaheart here.
This is PRpHD.
And we're back for another Movies with Mudita.
Marvel or Mickey or whatever with Mudita, yeah.
Or Max with Mudita or whatever.
Or Movie with Mudita.
For a very special video version of our podcast. And I don't know, I guess we might do this moving forward. Who knows?
Maybe, yeah, who knows?
Who knows? But yeah, today we're discussing, of all the things to choose a special episode, I don't know, we're testing it out on Obi-Wan episode 2 to try out the video version of this format. We'll see how it goes.
I feel like you built it up too much now.
Yeah, I built it up too much. Because, like, this is just a random episode 2 of
maybe this is season 3 of the podcast or something.
Yeah, in the middle of a TV show.
Yeah, we're not eating like we did for season 2.
Yeah. And we're doing Obi-Wan episode
2. Oh yeah, this is a
2.
movie with Mudita. It's a TV show with Mudita.
Yeah.
Yeah, what could have been a movie, in my opinion, which we'll get into later.
Yeah, and yeah, this is based on the stories by George Lucas here. I'm blocking your face.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'm not important. I'll hold that in front of my face. Yeah, sure.
Oh jeez, that was not on purpose.
It's fine. Can you hear me?
All right. But yeah, we did episode 2 of Obi-Wan and
Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, but I guess we can get into that.
The prequels. Episode 2 is Attack of the Clones.
Right. What does Obi-Wan have to do with Attack of the Clones?
It has nothing to do with it has nothing to do with that. I just felt like if you say episode 2, people are gonna think of Attack of the Clones.
Oh, I see. Episode 2. I see.
Yeah.
I see. Oh, I gotcha. Up to speed. Yeah, they call each episode title in Disney Plus for these episodes is just part 1, part 2. They don't.
They call it part 1, part 2. It's not episode 1. It's not episode 2. They don't have the whole scroll.
They have 6.
Even though Obi-Wan's there.
They have 6 parts, so it's like there's like 2 trilogies worth of things going on there.
That's
even though it's on a much smaller budget.
They're doing trilogies again. Yeah, double trilogies. Oh my god.
A sextology or whatever.
There you go.
A hexology.
Yeah, Hex works it out too.
Yeah. All right. So there's like some stuff to talk about with this episode. I feel like it picks up from where we left off on the first episode of Obi-Wan, where he's gone off to search for Leia after she's been kidnapped.
Yeah,
protect her.
I had to readjust myself as like, oh right, that's what the episode's about. Yeah.
Right, and Obi-Wan has gone to like this kind of.
He went gambling. He went gambling.
Yeah.
He's betting on the pod racers.
Yeah, he's on this planet filled with like all this kind of like shady folks and like all these people doing bets and
a little kid gives him drugs.
A little kid gives him drugs. She's like, you're never gonna find her, but have a couple of these.
You'll be fine. Yeah. I used to be someone's daughter too. Yeah. My mother's name was Martha.
Okay, that's a bit of a spoiler, but yeah. Anyway, in a sense, but
So we're doing non-spoiler.
Yeah, I think we're doing non-spoiler first, and then we're gonna do spoilers afterwards. But so we edit that out.
I don't know. It should be fine. I think it spoils DC or whatever more than whatever.
Okay. Anyway, so I feel like this episode is doing a lot more with the show. It's expanding the universe quite a bit. It extends the story of like Obi-Wan searching for Leia and like the bad guys in pursuit of Obi-Wan, continuing this ongoing chase dynamic here, and the squabbling between like the Inquisitor and his company, and and then also like they go on this planet where there's all these amazing set pieces and stuff, which I think is like the highlight of this episode. And maybe I'm wondering if it's going to be a highlight of this series, because like some of these other thumbnails don't look as compelling as what's happening in this episode so far, and I'm not sure what's going to happen next.
I forget what the thumbnail for the second episode was. The third one looked like it's back on the desert again.
Yeah, that was like one of the things going into this episode that was striking me, was like how slow paced the first episode was. Because like there's just a desert, there's sand, it gets everywhere. I hate it, and like there's
see Obi-Wan like cutting meats.
He's cutting meat. He's cleaning his shoes.
He's talking to himself. He's talking to he's talking in the cave.
He's like hiding in a cave. There's not a lot going on. He's being emo. He's listening to The Cure. You know, like he's like, I can't help anyone. I can't help anyone. And then someone's like, you gotta get your groove back, Obi-Wan. You gotta get back in the game. You used to stand for something, man. But so then he did that, and now he's gonna save Leia. And then with this, it kind of picks up. The speed of the episode is actually like kind of almost like getting to the level of like, okay, this is like a Star Wars TV show level of like what many describe as like the defining feature of Star Wars compared to like other movies and shows is the speed aspect of it. Like in this biography, even like a lot of people when they quoted when they were like describing like one of the defining features of the original Star Wars movies was its emphasis on speed, like people running around, ships jumping into hyperspace, action-packed sequences. This episode is like getting more up to speed, although still being under like a TV show kind of like streaming platform TV show kind of budget kind of thing. So I feel like it's doing a little bit more of that, while also having all the like kind of like characteristic like, you know, really amazing kind of costumes and sets, and you know, it has this like neon city, and it's got all these effects and creatures and stuff like that. I'm sure they might have even had like the Jim Henson Creature Workshop work on some of these. Who knows? Yeah.
I
So
don't remember
I
if
feel like
that
those are the
was
strong.
or not. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the strong points of this episode, I would say. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if you have any follow-up thoughts on that, or I was cutting you off.
I don't know.
I know you weren't as into the episode as I was. That's
Definitely
the
wasn't.
thing.
I definitely
That's the
wasn't.
thing.
So, like, I don't know how long we're supposed to talk about this. Yeah.
You were not feeling this episode.
Right.
I feel like, you know, it kind of is like general space adventure kind of stuff. It's not that different from other things that are, you know, not Star Wars now. Things have kind of caught up to Star Wars in a lot of ways, I feel. It reminds me of like Final Fantasy VII Remake, you know, like Final Fantasy VII Remake is supposed to be like this reimagining of this beloved franchise, but like a lot of other franchises have caught up to the level of polish and quality as like Final Fantasy VII. So I feel like, yeah, a lot of other adventure stories are like Star Wars now, you know. Even like The Mummy, you know, is already doing a lot of stuff that Star Wars would do or whatever. Like, you know, yeah. So, I don't know, how are you feeling? What's going on? Do we have to stop? Okay, so we're back.
Yeah.
So it seems in order to actually even move forward with this, to get PRpHD's perspectives on this, not only is PRpHD having the opposite opinion of me, a lot of it's based around spoilers and the particulars of the episode, so there'll be spoilers from this point forward. Is that right?
Yeah. The only non-spoiler thing I feel like I can say is that it's 41 minutes. It's the shortest episode. It still feels too long. It still feels like not a lot of stuff happens in it. I bet it's good that the production value is a lot better, and they're not contained to there's a problem with like episode 1 that episode 2 doesn't have, and I'll get into that in spoilers.
Yeah, so it seems like your basic summary in the non-spoiler version is that it's like a kind of meh kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That if I have it correctly.
That's correct, yes.
Yes, that's
I
perfect.
don't think it's like I hate the episode, but like I don't really like complaining about pacing either. But like
I don't know. It's like a general. It's not like
it took 41 minutes of my time. I was like, yeah.
We were kind of going into it not really hype about it too.
No. Yeah.
And so I was like, oh wow, this is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's like a generic. It's. I feel like the more Star Wars things they make, the more it feels like the franchise is like losing, like kind of like quality control or whatever. It feels like. So
yeah, I feel like especially since we can talk about this, like the whole thing with like Supergirl and Batgirl for DC and HBO Max, like I like this is like spending issues that investors are worried about and stuff, and like
yeah, like I mean they have to keep milking the Star Wars franchise. They bought it for like X number of billions of dollars.
Yeah.
And then like the fans want more stuff on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
They're trying to promote Disney Plus.
Yeah.
They have an engine that they have to keep churning out stuff for. The fans keep eating it up.
Yeah.
Like even at the cost of like, quality or whatever.
Right.
It's not like the same quality as like the movies or whatever. So they're just gonna keep making more of it as long as people keep choosing to consume it.
Yeah.
And this is what we get as a result,
Yeah.
I will say I like Ewan McGregor's acting in it. He does kind of bring a gravitas. Like he's the best.
They got him back.
Yeah.
And like it wasn't like another series where I'm like that sort of ruins the point of view for me. Like you got him back and he does stuff. And like
yeah, he's the best.
The moment in the end was pretty good.
He's the best part of the whole series, I think. And like I feel like he brings gravitas to the acting and grounds the series in a lot of ways. Which makes sense because like it's Ewan McGregor. They probably spent most of the budget on just hiring him for a TV show, and
all that Disney Plus money, yeah.
And he is the headline character of the thing that they brought back from the movies.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
It solves the issue of like it's called Obi-Wan, but like, is this what I think about when I think about Obi-Wan, or are you just like talking about like Star Wars stories that you just want to put on Disney Plus is another issue?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if they did like Lightyear, it's like, oh, this is the origin of Lightyear, or the movie of Toy Story and Lightyear or whatever. But like, Obi-Wan is sort of like, it could be anything, and like I don't know if this is like the direction they should have taken with it.
It still feels like they're building up to things. Like it's already episode 2, and I'm like, where are they going with this? Like
I'm not as optimistic with that.
Like I'm not feeling like there's like a big thing I want to find out next. Like I feel like a good drama is gonna like get me really hooked into like, okay, I'm really invested in seeing what happens next. But like I feel like I'm not quite there yet. Like they have a few things that like they hint at the end of this episode, which we'll talk about in spoilers, but like I don't know. Overall the effect is not that like impactful on me where I'm like, okay, I need to know what happens. Like I'm like, something's happened. Like there's like certain characters getting involved with their drama and stuff, but like it's not like super. It doesn't feel like the stakes are there. That like I'm super invested in these things and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the acting is pretty good. Like I feel like Kumail Nanjiani's in this episode, and he's pretty entertaining.
It's very interesting.
And then also, I think the actress for the child actress for Leia is pretty cool. She brings like a gravitas to the Leia character, like characterizing her as like this new reimagining of this character from a different time period. So I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's weird how the acting is like maybe one of the highlights of this, but still at the same time, like you got your head in your hands. You hate this.
I wasn't too high on it. I like, the other stuff I wanted to mention was like...
That's already giving it a lot of credit when I'm saying all that stuff. Like, it's still more general space adventure fare kind of stuff. Like, if you've seen one of these things, like, you've seen, yeah, it's not like, yeah.
I don't know if I would have recommended this if this wasn't on the Star Wars brand. It was part of the Disney brand. It wasn't
Right.
like talk about the music later, but I was disappointed with that. And the opening, they tried a different direction. I don't know if I hated it, but like it symbolized something to me.
What?
Like think about the spoilers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other thoughts before we go into spoilers?
That's about it. That was perfect. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that basically summarizes our thoughts. It's kind of meh. We're not that invested in where it's going. It's got some cool things, but like in general, it just feels like it doesn't have quite the oomph as like Star Wars should have, as we've expected in the past. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, it feels like maybe the main reason we're watching it is because it has the Star Wars brand and the name on it. But I don't know. Yeah, maybe we'll watch the rest of it.
Yeah, I just need something on and I watched it and yeah.
It's.
I mean, it could be critical, but like I could also be like, it was on the background. It's alright. It's alright.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think we'll go to our first break.
Okay.
And then when we come back from break, we'll go into spoiler talk.
Yeah.
All right. All right. That's it for now, and I guess we'll maybe insert a message in between here in the new format. Yeah. And yeah, we'll be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Da-da-da. This was a podcast by PRpHD and Mudita Heart. For more by PRpHD, check out his streams at twitch.tv/PRpHD. Also, use his affiliate links to buy your own retro games and digital game bundles. And I'm Mudita Heart, a game designer and developer focused on making kinder and cozier communities. For more games made by me, check out my itch.io at muditaheart.itch.io, or check out game streams that I've made at twitch.tv/muditaheart. And for more videos and games and more, check out my linktree at linktree/muditaheart. That's linktr.ee/muditaheart. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you'll join us again soon. Alright, and we're back from break. This is Mudita Heart here.
PRpHD here.
And we're doing movies and TV shows with Mudita, I guess.
That's what it's called now.
I guess so. I don't know.
Third season with video.
Third season in video HD 3D. That was terrible.
Everyone's probably left. They're not watching this anymore. Screw you guys. You don't need to watch the podcast.
But anyway, we're talking about Obi-Wan Episode 2, and we're going to talk about spoilers now, after having a kind of like... We had like a little bit of a collecting of our thoughts after doing our first part of this review.
Yeah.
And yeah, like basically the summary of like my thoughts on this is that like, you know, all that stuff I was saying before, basically it all comes down to saying that like there's a lot of things I like about this show. Like there's a lot of things that it's doing that are cool. That like there's a lot of crap that's put into it. There's a lot of like stuff to admire about like the artistry that's being done. Well, in parts, to be clear, but like it's sort of like not completely coming together. And you know, who knows what's causing that? You know, like you know all the different factors. It's a lot of work to make a Star Wars thing work because it's got to like be true to the original things. It's this really intense, like, space opera stuff. It's also got all these special effects and sci-fi stuff. It's also got to have, like, really dramatic storytelling and acting. So it's really quite a lot of stuff going on to make it all come together. So you got to give them credit for, like, making the effort.
Sometimes it's like the Simpsons meme with Itchy and Scratchy. They're like, so you want something new and different. You want something totally the same. Okay, I understand what you folks want.
Yeah, that's in the episode, the Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie show, when they're like polling the kids, like, what? Okay, kids, what do you want? So, we got two ideas for you. One is like something that's like new and fresh and like maybe a more contemporary look that's completely different from what you know. Yeah. And like what about something that's the same and like traditional and even more of what you got and also like more goofy and zany. Yeah. You kids don't know what you want. What's wrong with you? But yeah, I thought you got to give them credit, it is hard. I feel like it's hard for like a creative studio to like take a stance like that against their own fans. Like nowadays with the internet, if you do something like that, you're gonna get like crucified or something. Like they're gonna destroy you. Like no, you gotta pander to us now.
Yeah, pander to us, but we don't know what we want.
But we also don't know what we want.
And when we get what we want, we're upset anyway.
Yeah. So like it is a lot of like appealing to the lowest common denominator nowadays. They're pulling their punches. They don't want to do something new. Like, we loved Last Jedi a lot.
Yeah.
But, like, a lot of people hated Last Jedi, Well, but it's what it needed, But then they reined it in after that.
I don't know, I like Episode 9.
Episode 9 did a lot of good stuff, too. Yeah. But Last Jedi was really, like, kind of, like, pushing people's buttons a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't even know if people still hate it, like, post 2020. Like, I don't know, there's probably a whole bunch of people drinking the blue milk. They also be like, blue milk? I hate it. $20? I still hate it. I don't want a refund, but I hate it.
It was really fast. Also on the blue... Now we're getting on a tangent here, but also on the blue milk... For a while, yes. Also on the blue milk, like, this is just turning into a Star Wars podcast now, but also on the blue milk, like, it went really quickly from being a random thing in a movie to being a theme park thing you do in the parks.
Yeah.
Very, very quickly. Like they thought of it and were like, yeah, we're gonna make this a whole like $5. You gotta pay $10 for like a blue milk, souvenir cup or whatever. They're like, we gotta monetize this hard, while people are still into Star Wars. We're gonna milk that cow dry. Literally a blue milk cow, whatever.
So,
anyway.
Are we going to spoilers?
Alright, anyway, so yeah. That's all to say is that we're going to get into why exactly it kind of doesn't come together. And, like, all the little details has, like, some cool things, but why it doesn't exactly come together in our spoiler talk now.
I was actually going to start with why it sort of did work, actually, in the beginning.
Oh, okay. Well, you were, like, giving it so much crap before.
But we were just, like, we were tangenting, like...
Okay.
I was thinking, like, theme park-wise, like...
Okay.
When you see, like, Star Wars in the theme parks, most of it's, like, all, like, dirty, yellow sand or whatever.
Right.
And I'm like...
Which is the aesthetic of Star Wars,
And then we watched this episode, and that's, like, all, like, Blade Runner or something.
Yeah.
And that's, like, not in the theme park at all.
Right. Like, I'm glad they're still, like, reinventing new worlds and stuff in this show.
They sort of, like...
They're, like, trying to have new settings.
Sometimes, like, that's awkward, but, like, how they did the first episode was so weird, because, like, they did Tatooine, but it doesn't look like anything in the, like, any of the movies, so, like...
Right. Right. And, like, this isn't even Coruscant. Usually when you picture, like, a big city in Star Wars, you picture, like, Coruscant or something. Yeah. This is, like, another kind of, like, scummy hive of villainy and stuff thing.
Or it's like
the line goes,
it's like the one in The Last Jedi also,
Yeah,
it's totally different.
Yeah, this isn't like a high class like Vegas resort place.
Yeah.
This is like a low class, like people are scams upon scams upon scams kind of place.
Yeah.
Like you gotta watch your wallet. You gotta keep it on a cord so people can't, and you gotta make sure you can't cut the cord or whatever because people know that you're going to use a cord to like keep the wallet on you, so you got to have a reinforced elastic wallet band or whatever.
It was really weird because like in the beginning of the episode, before this episode starts, not this first episode, you have this like whole thing like Star Wars, Anakin Skywalker, R2-D2, and then like right now it's like we want kids stolen. That's what Star Wars is about now.
Yeah, it is weird because like usually Star Wars is like portrayed as like a story about Jedi and like a path between like noble knights and stuff against like good and evil and stuff.
Yeah.
But then with Solo, it became more of a rogue story because it was based around Han Solo and like backstabbing and stuff, and gambling and wheeling and dealing and stuff.
Yeah.
And then in this, we see another side of Obi-Wan where he's like pulling scams and like pulling out a blaster even and stuff like that. Getting ready
to start blasting,
or like even like threatening people at gunpoint even, and like trying to like cut a deal with people and stuff like that. Like, whoa, okay. Yeah. That doesn't seem like quite Jedi-like, but okay. Yeah. Not to say that he probably isn't above that, because Qui-Gon Jinn did his own fair share of that kind of stuff, too.
Yeah, like with the dice,
With the dice scene, exactly, in Episode 1, when he's, like, negotiating for Anakin and stuff.
I mean, I guess, like, that was probably a controversial part of the sequels also.
At that moment, people maybe didn't like it or whatever, but now it's gone even further in that direction now.
And it's not like Obi-Wan's like, oh no, I've gone to the dark side. He's like, oh, whatever, I'm gonna shoot this guy.
Yeah, I feel like it's like, I feel like maybe...
I feel like Han Solo is okay because Han Solo. It's not like Obi-Wan Kenobi at age 50 or whatever.
He just casually did it. I feel like in other parts they'd be like, a Jedi's lightsaber is his weapon. Yeah. This is the marker of a Jedi Knight or whatever. Yeah. But like, I feel like
just to make the weapon.
Yeah, it felt like they just kind of discarded that. I don't know if it was in a good way, really. Yeah. Like that, like they just had Obi-Wan wielding. I mean, you kind of wonder throughout all these other movies and stuff, like why doesn't a Jedi just use a blaster?
Like Luke,
because it's more practical.
Last Jedi, at least he's aware of it. Like I felt like I was being like brainwashed or something in this episode, where like, don't you know also, or Jedi use blasters now?
That was just like it was weird how like commonplace it was. He just
like in Last Jedi, he froze the lightsaber like wherever, but like this one, he's like, I'm using a blaster. What are you talking about? This is what I do.
Yeah, it was just very casual. He was like, yeah, I felt like there was like a lot of weird unspoken rules in the world of Star Wars. Yeah, like I think when like they brought on. When they were doing the new trilogy, the sequel trilogy, this is a fun fact I learned, was that when they were doing that, they still had George Lucas consult on some things. Yeah. And George Lucas would say stuff like, oh, this is a speeder, so you don't have wheels on that. Yeah. It's got to hover, Like, things like that shouldn't have wheels. That's just the rules of how this world works and stuff. And, like, there's a lot of stuff like that, like, unless you compile them all and like are really thorough with it, like you need
like a Stan Lee or something,
yeah.
Give them all like sometimes they're not like that great either. Like you need someone like that, like an editor or something,
Right, like I think there was a moment in Mandalorian that I saw where like they said like, wow, this hasn't happened in several decades or whatever, and I'm like. And like just the unit of measurement there or something to me was really weird because I was like, I feel like in Star Wars they never said the word decades or something like that to measure time. They would probably use some like sci-fi term or something like that instead of that kind of thing, or space fantasy term instead of that. Like in Star Trek they would say like some kind of like unit of sci-fi measurement or something. In Star Wars they would have their own corresponding thing. Yeah. Like and then like sometimes like the dialogue would feel kind of off like that whenever they're doing like these new extended universe kind of things in Star Wars now. Even like Star Wars the Clone Wars TV show had George Lucas's hand in it, so maybe it had that consistency to some degree too. But in general, like even after we saw Solo, I think we were starting to see the seams of like the Star Wars universe as it continues to expand start to degrade as it's falling away from the original strands of the tree or whatever. Yeah. So it's kind of happening further and further now. But I feel like that just has to happen to some degree because like the more creators you're getting involved in this, the more you're just gonna have to like, I don't know. I mean, somehow like I feel like MCU manages it pretty well. I don't know. You probably argue with me on that, but
right, yeah.
But I feel like there's like some kind of consistency there that kind of has some internal logic to those kinds of things. But yeah, something about the sci-fi aspects of this is really like, I don't know. Yeah, they have to figure it out, and I feel like they're not figuring it out right now.
I feel like you can break the rule. You can totally break the rule. So far, I'm not getting anything out of it.
Yeah. In general, the payoff's got to be there, though. Yeah.
it doesn't matter what the rules are. It doesn't be a payoff for the payoff's the most important part.
Yeah, there's not a lot of moments. Like so to get into spoilers a bit, there's like a few moments in this episode where there feels like there should be some emotional payoff.
Yeah.
And it feels like I'm not invested in these moments, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's the Kumail Nanjiani character. He has an arc. I don't really know what the payoff for that is. It feels pretty ambiguous where it leaves off with him.
Yeah.
There's the arc with the villains of this show.
Yeah.
And it feels like, okay, that felt like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I don't know. It didn't feel like it was building up to that or anything.
Yeah.
You were barely in the room. You're like, I'm out of this scene. I don't even want to watch this. Like, yeah, and it was kind of hard to feel invested.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a drink of water.
Yeah, sure. Hey, Kamal. I felt like he was very out of place. Like, I felt like you should have cast an unknown for that role, because like if you cast Kamal Nanjiani,
Nanjiani,
yeah. You're like it's him. Like you're not gonna separate him from
his other roles and like
or if you do like cast him like as a character like from Eternals except in Star Wars or something. Like I didn't feel like his casting was a good choice.
Yeah, that was.
I feel like they were really distracted. Yeah,
that was another thing we talked about during break. Was that the casting of this show feels like kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
Like it felt like there was moments in this where it felt like they weren't even in the same room with each other when they were talking to each other.
And like I sort of see that in the first episode, but in the second episode, like it looks like it's all on the same set. So like, how's that possible?
Yeah. And
like even with like Kamal like on the comms thing doing the mind trick thing, like most of the show was like in person with each other. Even with this 2020s issue we have. Yeah,
they are. Yeah, like there's just not a lot of on-screen chemistry between the actors or whatever, and like it feels like they're delivering the lines in a kind of wooden way or something like that.
I remember like when they originally cast the whole Star Wars cast, like when they were doing that, like could have like hired like some bigger names, but like they didn't do that because like it didn't work as well.
Right, like with Christopher Walken was one of the potential
Han Solos
or something like that. Yeah, but like I think like George Lucas had a like more inspired decision when he like was casting Mark Hamill and stuff.
I feel like
they didn't.
I feel like no one nowadays ever casts unknowns anymore.
Yeah, that process doesn't happen as much.
Yeah.
And MCU kind of had that a little bit with like Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston. I know you don't like his character, but like
Tom Hiddleston's a good actor. He's not really an unknown either.
Yeah,
he did Oscar work.
I think did that come after his casting as Loki though?
What was Thor? I think it might have been the same year.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah, it feels like a lot of these. Yeah. So it feels like they're pulling their punches a lot. It feels like when you're like invoking Star Wars characters with like showing Ewan McGregor's face, this is Obi-Wan, our standards are gonna be really up here. But like it feels like it's coming up short of those expectations a lot in terms of like how it all comes together, how the actors resonate, how the emotional drama pays off. Like I feel like when you picture Star Wars, you're picturing like a Shakespearean or like Shakespearean drama or Greek tragedy or something. This is not on that scope by any means. This is like
what do you mean Needles is in this?
Needles, yes, Needles is in this. Needles. So we're talking about Needles from Back to the Future,
played by like Flea or Dirtbag or something.
Yeah. I'm just a teenage dirtbag baby.
There you go.
How old was Needles in Back to the Future? That was 40 years ago. He looks good, I guess. He looks the same as he did back then.
He looks as bad as he did back then.
He looks as shady as he did back then. Yeah. Anyway.
They also didn't bring back the Jawa, which isn't even like a casting thing because like the Jawa doesn't even speak. But like I felt like the Jawa I don't know, like, on the one hand, I was sort of getting used to, like, the format of them having, like, a Baby Yoda or something, so I thought the Jawa was going to be the Baby Yoda. But, like, they didn't repeat it, which sort of threw me off, so... But on the other hand, I like that they tried to do something different, albeit I don't think it paid off as well as if they did have the Jawa with them.
Yeah, this episode, it did feel like they were trying to do a lot of different things with, like, having a different setting and, like, having a different premise for the episode compared to the first episode, and, like, making it more based around, like, this dramatic chase adventure thing going through a city and stuff like that. So, like, this cyberpunk-like city. And, like, why can't they have a cyberpunk city Star Wars,
Yeah. Like in,
yeah, so...
Like in Knights of the Old Republic or something?
Yeah, kind of like that. I haven't played those games, so I don't know what happens in them. But that being said, like, yeah, it does feel like the pacing in this episode picks up a bit from the first episode, where it's just really slow and plotting, and they're in a desert and nothing happens and stuff. So that's something I liked about this episode.
I mean,
that I felt it.
Having people just like stand there, do the whole Turin Horse thing, where they just look at a potato and like eat it for like 50 minutes.
That's not like there's movies that do that,
Yeah.
And there's movies that do it well, for that matter.
Yeah.
But you don't really picture that with Star Wars, and like also I feel like they weren't doing that like quite the level of like
I would love to see
an art film.
I would love to see a Star Wars film where just Luke in the vapor farm or whatever doing vapor farm things. I feel like that would be great, albeit he's a little old now.
I mean, George Lucas used to do tone poems, like he used to do like film footage in the desert and just made visual poetry with like footage in the desert and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those would be some of his most favorite projects he made when he was younger, before he made Star Wars. Yeah, we talked about Kamal Nanjiani drama. Also, like another thing that came up short, it feels like the music is like, it's definitely no John Williams score.
It doesn't sound like a Star Wars score.
Yeah, it's really hard to like have the sound of Star Wars on a TV show budget, I guess.
It's like Obi-Wan is a Jedi, but there's no John Williams.
I guess they can't do like, I don't know, like a orchestra or whatever, but I mean with
Come on, Michael Giacchino. How can you go wrong with Michael Giacchino?
Was he the composer for this?
He wasn't with the thing. They couldn't even get like rip off John Williams. They just got some whatever.
Well, like there's okay. Not saying anything about Michael Giacchino, but also like Rafati Aswadi, or I forget his name. He did the soundtrack for Game of Thrones, and he also did the soundtrack for Eternals. So I wonder if they could have gotten someone like him who does like like TV show soundtracks and stuff. But like I don't know what the budget for something like a Star Wars show. I would figure a Star Wars show like
this. Star Wars show probably doesn't have the budget for the good composer. I'm assuming. Yeah.
I feel like this would have been like a marquee kind of thing, where it's like you're expecting like it to be like a Game of Thrones kind of thing. This is not anywhere close to that. There's not as many characters. There's not as many sets. There's not as many.
I guess Disney Plus is cheaper than HBO Max is. Also, there's like half price.
Yeah, it feels like they're cutting corners. We want to be able to get the audience for Star Wars, but we also don't want to invest into it, I guess.
Yeah.
It feels that way.
Yeah.
Maybe that summarizes the whole thing, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah. I don't know what other thoughts we have. That's like most of my thoughts, pretty much. The adventure storyline's picking up a little bit, but like it does feel like a more generic adventure story, as I've been saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of the whole Obi-Wan like getting Leia out of their scene?
Out of
capture.
It was very quick. It was fine. It was alright. Yeah. You weren't there for that, right?
I saw the beginning of it, and I felt like it's weird. Like he's wearing, it's like he's using like smoke bombs and stuff. I don't know. I guess you could do that as a Jedi, but it's not something I'm used to.
Yeah, there's like weird things like that.
He looked like he was like it looked like he was Heisenberg or something in that scene. And, like he blew up a beaker.
Oh yeah, they were in like this Breaking Bad like style like chem lab or whatever.
It didn't feel very like
Mr. White.
It didn't feel very Return of the Jedi-ish.
It wasn't Return of the Jedi-ish,
You
but it was.
You did Mr. White with a British accent.
Was it a British accent?
It's like British accent.
Mr. White.
Mr.
White.
That's a British accent.
It's like Oliver Twist
Mr. Wayne.
It's like Oliver Twist cyberpunk style. Wow, now that's an idea. Cyberpunk style Oliver Twist.
Yeah. Let's see. There's Leia not thinking he's a Jedi, which was sort of weird. There's when he uses the Force.
Oh yeah, he uses the Force to.
They build up to that moment.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he needs to talk to somebody. Otherwise, he's not. We're not gonna get his thoughts on like actually when he actually uses the Force. There's a whole thing in the end with antagonists.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point with like the whole like he doesn't talk to anyone. He's just wandering by himself most of the time. So now the banter with him and Leia's picking up. Yeah. So he's not just wandering by himself from place to place.
I actually sort of thought after this episode, like maybe like she's supposed to be like the baby Yoda of the series instead of the Jawa.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I just thought about this during this podcast, actually.
Right. Yeah. She's like giving her sassy remarks as a 10-year-old kid.
You're a Jedi. How can I trust you?
You're an old has-been, man. You're all washed up. What you talking about, Obi-Wan?
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't get too. Was it?
Hopefully they don't go. Hopefully they don't get too
poochy, like
too ridiculous with like the sassy little girl calls out old washed up man or whatever.
Right.
Like, okay, this is, yeah, but who knows? Yeah. We're getting pretty long here. We should probably be wrapping up soon.
Yeah, there's the thing of the antagonists, and then the reveal in the end.
Right. The twist on the antagonists. There's like some backstabbing going on and stuff like that. There's people plotting against each other. I feel like that was like a thread that like. You know, I was glad they had something like a B plot or whatever going on.
Now, unfortunately, there's only
there wasn't really much payoff to it. But I'm glad they ended it honestly because I felt like it was slowing things down if they kept it going throughout the whole season.
And they can't do it because like there's only 6 episodes, so like they're 1/3 of the way in.
I'm glad they made it pay off soon and in a big way, big way.
But they can't really have them talk a lot, even though Obi-Wan's not talking a lot because the name of the show is Obi-Wan. It's not about Inquisitor and Third Sister.
Yeah, I didn't really care for their story that much. I'm glad they ended it like sooner rather than later.
Alright, they got rid of half of them. Now they're going to worry about half of them the rest of the series.
Yeah, I didn't want them to keep drawing it out. Like, so yeah.
That was what was cool about Last Jedi, but I just didn't get it with this series because, like, I don't know, their relations with the characters weren't as personal or whatever.
Yeah, you didn't feel invested with the characters. You didn't build it. I didn't feel
like Third Sister or like Inquisitor was like turning Obi-Wan to the dark side or whatever, like manipulating. I don't think it was like anything like that. They just want to kill him, you know.
Yeah, it was like, oh, I want to capture him. No, I want to capture him to prove myself. And like, okay, well, you can't do that. And like. I don't know. I wasn't that invested in that whole story arc. It was like a kind of. I was like, okay, this is a B plot, whatever. Like, it gives a little counterpoint to like the main story between Obi-Wan and Leia and whatnot. But
it felt like TV writing. Like it felt like they were going for the plots. Yeah.
Yeah. There's the A plot and there's the B plot.
And it's not like HBO Max worthy, but like it's TV worthy, you know. Like you're writing your plots down and you're putting them on the flow charts and everything.
Yeah,
and you know that part went somewhere.
Yeah,
even before the 6 episodes were over.
Yeah, and then maybe the last thing we'll leave off on is the big cliffhanger.
I was actually going to mention that.
Yeah,
and it made me think like, oh, that's why they did that because like. That's the real bad guy.
The real bad guy of this season is gonna be
Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Who looks it never occurred to me in books and the cartoons that like he looks a lot like the Inquisitors, which is probably why they have Inquisitors that look like Darth Vader when he has like I always thought it was because like of his injury, but like maybe like all the Darth side people just sort of look like that.
Yeah, I guess is Darth Vader himself a Inquisitor? Or is he the OG Inquisitor?
I mean, he's a Darth, and like he looks like Sidious. Also, sort of looks like that.
Okay, I don't know, some Star Wars, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. But what a way to like they kind of have me thinking like for a hot minute that like okay, the Inquisitor is gonna be the bad guy, and like then they pull a Snoke. Where it's like, okay, the real villain's going to be Darth Vader for this. Yeah. And honestly, that's what I'm looking for. I'm so much more invested in that.
I think, is that the whole point of Obi-Wan series even?
That's what you want to see. You want to see a big showdown between Obi-Wan and
Darth Vader.
And Anakin.
Yeah.
And like,
Anakin! Oh no, he's alive!
Oh no, the Grand Inquisitor! Oh no,
the Grand Inquisitor! Oh, the third sister! Like, come on.
I can't
at least they figured out the second episode, like, this isn't working, we gotta bring Darth Vader back in. We gotta stop bullshitting here.
This is taking way too long to get to the point.
He's cutting meat, he's lost in a cave, like, come on, let's just put Darth Vader in there.
That's already, this is taking too long.
Let's sold merchandise already.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, yeah, they do make it pay off where like okay, the big drama with like the Inquisitor getting murked, then the introduction of Darth Vader, and then also the reaction on, Ewan McGregor's face as Obi-Wan reacting to the knowledge that Anakin is alive, and like that bombshell was dropped on him. Yeah, was like really like something that like wow, it's like he's internalizing it and stuff. Like,
I felt like
that's like really what you come to pay. That's the price of admission right there, I think, but.
It would have been a little bit better if they did not show, like...
Maybe a matinee admission, though. Yeah.
Maybe it'd be a better admission if they didn't show Needles getting killed off, like, 1 minute before that or whatever.
Right.
And then that guy get killed off.
Right, yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah.
It's a show.
Yeah, it was, yeah. We'll see with the rest of the series, how we feel, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well... Yeah, that's about it. We're at 30 minutes or so
cool.
It's about time to wrap up soon.
Yeah.
I guess you can find us online.
Yeah.
And
twitch.tv/PRpHD and
twitch.tv/muditaheart.
Yeah.
And we'll see you online. And hope to see you soon.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you. All right, take care.
Take care, guys.
And
may the Lucas be with you.
May the Lucas be with you. All right, take care, folks.
This was a podcast by PRpHD and Muditaheart. For more by PRpHD, check out his streams at twitch.tv/PRpHD. Also, use his affiliate links to buy your own retro games and digital game bundles. And I'm Muditaheart, a game designer and developer focused on making kinder and cozier communities. For more games made by me, check out my itch.io at muditaheart.itch.io, or check out game streams that I've made at twitch.tv/muditaheart. And for more videos and games and more, check out my linktree at linktr.ee/muditaheart. That's linktr.ee/muditaheart. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you'll join us again soon.